Hey everyone, welcome to More Layers once again. I'm Seth Mariano,
And I am Jordan Smith.
and it is now late July of 2021,
And the
and
Olympics have officially begun.
in Tokyo, yes. Yeah, and you watched the ceremony?
I wasn't able to watch the whole thing because I was at work, but I got to see the latter half of the Parade of Nations. And what intrigued me, at least personally, was there were reports going around that they played a song from the Sonic franchise a couple times partway through. So I looked into this, and apparently that since it was in Japan, they played a bunch of video game tracks because Japan has made a lot of big name characters and such. And they played one of the tracks from the original Sonic game. So I was really excited.
Today is a topic that's a relatively new idea. I thought about this um, not too long ago to ask each other about favorites of whatever, this, favorite that. I guess I'll go first, and the
Okay.
first thing, on my list is what is your favorite video by the Nostalgia Critic?
One that comes to my mind is when he reviewed the very infamous Batman and Robin, where George Clooney played Batman, partly because of the way he reviews it, all the jokes and such. But there's one particular moment that stands out where for those who haven't seen it, there is a scene where Batman and Robin come across Poison Ivy in a public setting, and she hypnotizes them in some way, and they start bidding on her to take her out on a date or something. And Batman says like 7 million, and he pulls out what's also been infamous, his dubbed Bat credit card. And so many people either hate it or think it's absolutely hilarious that Batman would have one of those. But the Nostalgia Critic, when he reviewed this movie and he got to that scene, he, as part of a little skit or joke, I guess, he basically exploded in rage. And the way he did it was just so funny. And this stemmed so many people referencing it when they go to meet him. Like, I've seen many videos where somebody will give him, like, obviously fake, but that credit card that they made just for him. And when he sees it, he pretends to like burst out in anger and chase them in a comedic fashion. I actually, when I met him in Syracuse back in 2019, I printed out a picture of one directly from the movie, and he pretended to like punch me. It was all for fun, so I knew he wasn't actually trying to hurt me, but he was just like ah, and it was just so much fun. So that review or that video just holds a special place in my heart, and that meeting with him further emphasized it.
All right, what's one you've got?
All right, so mine started out a bit basic. What is your favorite song?
Oh, good one. I think probably right now it would have to be Truth Be Told, which is a new song by Matthew West. He released this song basically to kind of address how there's a sort of pressure that's prevalent in Christian society to look perfect or to hide the dark side of the Christian life. This is a song that sort of confronts that. Basically, in a way, I guess you could say it says, it's not that easy, and I have some dark moments in this journey of faith, and it's probably best if we be honest about it more than we typically are.
Yeah, I get that.
All right, my next one is your favorite Pokemon video game.
And it is Pokemon Platinum. This was, or rather has been, my favorite game for quite a while because I didn't fall away from Pokemon for a while, but I didn't play it as much. And then this game came out, and somebody else had it, and they encouraged me to get it. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot at least. And I fell in love with it. There was so much going on. The story was good. It has some of my favorite Pokemon in the entire series. And one thing about the Pokemon series that I wish more games did is after you beat the champion, which is essentially the final boss of each game, I like it when they give you stuff to do afterwards. And this game gives you a lot. So there's a lot you can do in that game. The story is told well. It has some of my favorite Pokemon in the entire franchise. It has some of my favorite episodes or battles in the entire anime. So for me, it has a lot going for it. It has a lot of things I like, and it ultimately brought me back to the franchise itself. All right, so the next one I have for you is, what was your favorite moment from Shrek the Musical?
I think I probably just had a fun time meeting some of the people that were on the stage with us, and seeing how like there were some volunteers in the cast that were so kind, and they rooted for me, and that I guess that will stick out.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, and my next one: favorite line delivered in a stand-up comedy show.
Ooh, that definitely is a little bit tricky because there's many comedians that I like to listen to. One that comes to mind since I listened to this routine earlier, it would probably be the comedian Brad Upton. He at one point talks about when you're in like a diner or a restaurant and the staff sings happy birthday to somebody. Like, he talks about that, and he's like, why do we do it? Everyone involved hates it. Staff hates it, diners hate it, birthday boy hates it. You know the one person who does like it? Birthday boy's friend. That is the one person who is enjoying that right there. It's like a guy who started a fire like, hee hee hee, I caused this. All right, so what is your favorite sandwich?
I think that would have to be the cold cut combo from Subway. I'm not that big a spender, or that frequent one, but pretty much now, anytime I go to Subway, I get myself a foot-long cold cut sandwich. It was cool.
Awesome.
All right. My next question is favorite Disney ride.
One that I at least do remember that I really liked doing at the time was this, I think it was Buzz Lightyear themed ride where it was like a slow moving coaster, but you were shooting targets all around the outside of the track with your Buzz Lightyear laser gun, and you tried to get as high a score as you could. And while I don't remember too much about it, I do remember some stuff towards the end, like one of Zurg going up and down. There was an animatronic of Buzz talking as you left. But I remember just having so much fun doing it. So I guess for right now, that is my favorite Disney ride, but for all I know, the next time I go there, whenever that is, I might find a new favorite.
All right, what's your next one?
My next one is, what is your favorite music band?
I think right now it would have to be DC Talk. Now, for those of you who don't know, DC Talk is technically non-active, but maybe at some point they'll reband. Sort of Christian hip hop, rock, soul fusion group consisting of Kevin Max, and Michael Tate, who have gone off and done their own stuff pretty much. But they did reunite for a reunion cruise in a recent year, though.
All right.
And these guys formed the group at Liberty University, which is also the alma mater of Mark Lowry and our church's new student pastor, as well as Vic Mignogna, whom Jordan has met. He's a voice actor he's been on Dragon Ball Z, and he did some of the arrangement work on their first album as well.
That is very true.
And I thought about this one after thinking about the fact that you are a dog owner.
Yep.
And so I thought of this question: movie and or book about a dog.
In terms of film, I would probably say, at least out of the ones that come to my mind, Bolt. Like, I want to say it's Disney.
Which is a Disney animated film.
Yeah, it was Disney. Okay, I had to think about it for a second. But yeah, that is one of my favorite Disney movies about a dog. Partly due to the whole superhero thing. I did like the story. The comedy made me laugh quite a bit. And the overall performances from the voice actors I really enjoyed. So it's definitely a movie I like to come back to every once in a while. As for a favorite book about a dog, there's a book series, I think it's called, hang on. Yeah, I had to double check that. It's called Survivors, which is in the same, I don't know if it takes place in the same world or it follows a similar premise, but it's by the same author who has written book series like Seekers or Warriors that centers around like a specific animal. In this case, Survivors centers around a dog and his like friends or allies he makes as they take this journey. And there aren't a lot of books that I read, but these particular series, for whatever reason, just really have grabbed my interest. And I really got to read them more because I haven't been doing it as much as of late. Now, I think there was a movie, I don't know if it was based on a book or something, but it was a movie where a dog passes on, but it comes back as another dog. And then it kind of repeats the process a little bit. I forget,
like they keep dying and coming back.
Yeah, but when they do come back, they're a completely different breed of dog, but the same kind of narrative voice is tied to that dog. So I don't know the whole story because I haven't seen it, but it kind of sparked my interest. I just didn't remember what it was called.
All right, what's your next one?
Next one is, what would be, if you could have one, your favorite superpower?
I think I would have to say flight. I could probably just get anywhere I wanted for free and fly. I would probably enjoy the feeling of flight. So there.
Yeah, I would probably say that as well. Like, another one that I probably would want myself is like super speed, but Flight has its practical use of being able to fly over everything, and you can get there a lot sooner than if you were on the ground, and you get a nice view along the way. So, yeah, I'd probably end up saying Flight too.
All right. And some of you may remember Jordan mentioning his interest in getting on the show America's Got Talent, so I thought of this one. Favorite AGT contestant?
Well, there definitely have been a few good ones over the years, like Terry Fader, who won very early on, Paul Zerdin. Both of them are ventriloquists, so there's them. There's been some good comedians. Preacher Lawson was one that usually comes to mind, but I think two of my favorites, it's hard to pick between the two. One of them is Shin Lim, who also won not too long ago, and he's known for being a card musician, or not musician, magician. And there have been plenty of those on the show prior to him and even a couple afterwards. But I think what makes him stand out is not only is he really good at it, but he is like a really good showman. Like, he just presents really well. He makes it seem so mystic, so entertaining. You really cannot keep your eyes off of his act until it's done. Like, he just keeps you so interested in just the way he moves, the way he presents each trick. And then the other act that really stood out to me, I think he also won, now that I think about it. Well, I don't remember his last name. His first name is Kenichi. And what he did was he would program these like video virtual reality screen type things ahead of time, and he would stand directly in front of them and interact with it as if it was real. And some of the stunts he did to really make people believe it could be real were actually pretty astounding. So just the time and effort and the visual appeal of that act also made it stand out for me.
Okay, so yeah, it's your turn.
Right. Okay. So we have talked quite a bit about movies both today and in previous episodes. So what would be your favorite movie in general?
Well, I guess there are a couple or so different ones that I could pick, like the 2003 Disney film of Freaky Friday, starring Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. And I've mentioned Superman the movie from 1978 and the follow-up to that. Super Size Me, and very informative and intriguing documentary.
All right.
Probably Max Keeble's Big Move, which wasn't the best received film, definitely, but it was a pretty clever effort, I think.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, and my question is, your favorite memory of an Eagles game? And this would be the Super Bowl 52 when they won, but I could be wrong.
No, you are definitely right. They definitely had some good memories in the past that I had, but definitely my favorite moment or memory of an Eagles game was when they won Super Bowl 52, and not just it was mostly due to the fact that it was their first Super Bowl win in the history of the NFL, but it was also against the Patriots / Tom Brady, which made it even sweeter for me, because for those that don't know, I do not like Tom Brady.
All right, you got another one for me?
I do. I previously asked what your favorite movie was, and now I'm thinking, what is your favorite movie soundtrack?
The only one that I can think of, at least right now, that I've that I'm close to listening all the way through of is the soundtrack of Shrek.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the first one?
Yeah. Right. My next one is favorite Christian song and or Christian album.
Okay, so I think one of my favorite songs is also the name of one of my favorite Christian albums, which would be Newsboys' God's Not Dead. Like the album has that name, and I know that one of the songs on the album also is called God's Not Dead. It's one of those like Christian songs that really gets you hyped up and excited, which are usually my favorite kind of song, and it really gets a powerful message across. And they definitely have some other good songs on there, like The King is Coming is a good one. But really, that song alone, God's Not Dead, is what got me interested in the album as a whole to begin with.
Okay, you got another one for me?
Yep. Since the Olympics are now finally going on right now, since they were postponed a year, I thought I'd ask you if you have a favorite Olympic sport to watch.
I don't really watch the Olympics that much. I know when I've watched, I mostly watched like volleyball or water polo or basketball.
Okay.
And to that. Okay. My next one, favorite Pixar film.
I do have a soft spot for Wally. I really do enjoy that one. All-time favorite would probably be either that one or Up.
Okay.
I definitely like Wally because of all the different ideas it has, but Up also has this really powerful story, and quite frankly, I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't seen it, but I really think that the first 5-10 minutes of the film could have been its own movie. So, the next one I have for you is, what is your favorite pastime that others might think is unusual?
When I was really young, I would I'd constantly craft PowerPoint presentations on my little home computer. I would do like a collage of photos I found on the internet, or a sort of presentation using shapes that they build in a program, and kind of designed based on something like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or something. So I would fiddle around with PowerPoint oftentimes. What the next one that I put down was favorite Disney film.
I think ultimately my favorite one is the animated version of Beauty and the Beast.
All right, good.
Yeah, the reasoning is like the story is just told really well. The chemistry between Belle and the Beast is very believable. I actually like how they made Gaston like a town hero to most of the characters in the movie, but he was still ultimately the villain, and how he got more desperate as times went on. And most of the songs in that movie were just absolutely outstanding. Since I thought of Beauty and the Beast, one thing I recommend our listeners, or pretty much anybody who watches or listens to this, to do is look up the Nostalgia Critic. He has a series that he does on YouTube called Disney December, where he does like a shortened, not as comedic, and more just like your standard review, but it's like a shortened one that usually goes about 5-6 minutes. Where he did one for the animated Beauty and the Beast in a series called Disney December. I don't know if I said that, but he did one for animated Beauty and the Beast, and pretty much everything he said in that review, I completely agree with. So if people really want to know why I love Beauty and the Beast so much, he pretty much words it perfectly. So the next thing I wanted to ask you is, instead of your favorite movie in its entirety, do you have a favorite scene in a movie?
There is one scene, in the first act of the 2003 film Freaky Friday,
Okay.
where the mom and the daughter are having an increasingly heated argument, and probably the thing that makes this scene intriguing to me is that mom is coming off pretty much as a know-it-all jumping to conclusions, and the daughter is understandably enough getting defensive and sarcastic and increasingly irritated, and it's done believably and with enough emotional intrigue that it's a winner for me.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And this next one is because I know of your interest in SpongeBob. Mm-hmm. So I thought of asking favorite SpongeBob episode.
I think one that comes to mind is the camping episode where SpongeBob and Patrick go quote unquote camping, but as Squidward points out, they're only doing it about 10 feet from their house. And he ultimately decides to join them. It causes a lot of laughs between them. And of course, there's the whole sequence with the sea bear and the anti-sea bear circle. That episode had a lot of great moments, had a lot of funny moments. It had one of SpongeBob's most iconic songs, that being the Campfire Song. And it was definitely a good one to watch. But another one that really stands out to me is Band Geeks, where Squidward tries to get a band together at the last minute to kind of impress his rival Squilliam, but also so that he can perform at what I guess you could say is equivalent to the Super Bowl halftime show. And I like this episode because it also has that great song, Sweet Victory. It also has a lot of great laughs, memorable moments. And it's one of those episodes that doesn't happen often enough, where Squidward is on like the better side of events. Like, he's not the one getting slapped around or getting the short end of the stick. Like, this one pretty much centers around him, and he gets this big moment of glory, which you don't often see in the series. So probably my two of my favorite episodes are the camping episode and Band Geeks.
All right. Okay.
So the next one I wrote for you is, what is your favorite musical? Now, this doesn't have to be one that you've been in. And if it isn't, is it one that you would want to be in?
I suppose for right now, it would be Shrek, not necessarily because I've been in it, but because it's a story that I think is so relatable. You've got, the bitter outcast. You have the female who's who's deep down insecure, but outward she acts so tough. And again, there's this theme, I guess, of discrimination, feeling cast out, and I think it's something that can probably speak to everybody.
I can definitely get behind that. That's for sure.
Okay, my next one is favorite concert going experience.
Well, thankfully, this will be very easy to narrow down because I've only been to two at this point. The first one I ever went to was when Maroon 5 was in Rochester a few years back, and my sister got us tickets to go see them. And we weren't up close or anything, but we could still see them. They played a lot of the songs that we knew and absolutely loved. And Adam Levine, he, in between songs, would be talking a lot, and he got real personal, and it was really a nice experience. But then in summer, a couple years after that at least, at Six Flags Darien Lake, when it was just called Darien Lake, we went to see the band Skillet, and my sister managed to get us special tickets that had us right up against the edge of the stage. And the moment I will never forget is when the lead singer, John Cooper, he was kind of walking back and forth the edge of the stage, kind of high-fiving people and such. And he, at one point, just gave like this massive high five to me, and it was so cool.
Okay, you got another one?
Yeah, I got two more for you. One of them being, what is your favorite film and or voice actor?
Well, I guess one would probably be Tom Hanks, because I've seen a lot of his work, live action and with Pixar.
Sure.
That might be one. And Tim Allen, who's also done, the Toy Story franchise, and he's done some. And I'm also a fan of his Santa Claus movies with Disney, which are live action.
Sure.
Yeah. And I've previously mentioned Jessica DeChico, who is one of the leads on Nickelodeon's The Loud House, who has done a bunch of other stuff like Adventure Time, though I haven't seen that, as well as Disney's The Emperor's New School.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so yeah, those are probably my favorites right now.
All right, awesome.
Yeah. All right. I think I might know what the answer to this next one is, but either way, I'd like to hear the answer from you.
Sure.
Favorite movie-going memory?
Well, I have a couple.
All right.
One of the obvious ones, and probably the one you're thinking of, is when Sonic the Hedgehog was in theaters.
Yep, that would be my guess.
Yeah, that was definitely one of them, because for those that don't know, I'm a big Sonic fan. And when they first announced a movie, I think it was first announced way back in 2016. Boy, it was kind of off and on for a while whether or not they were actually making it. Like, people weren't sure if they actually would. And then I want to say in 2018, it was officially confirmed. I think that's how that went. And then they finally started filming, and they announced when the movie would be released, at least originally, before the whole debacle with the first design of the titular character. So it's one of my favorite franchises, and the long wait for this movie to come out really built up the excitement for me. And when it was finally in theaters, like I was just really overexcited to finally go see it. In fact, my sister and one or two people that were sitting next to me, when the movie finally started, they could see me like shaking like a little kid in excitement, waiting for the movie to start. So yeah, that is definitely one of my big movie going memories right there. But the other one that came to my mind was when Avengers Endgame came out, partly because it's a superhero movie and I like most of them, not all of them, but most. And I was really excited to see this movie because there were going to be so many characters in it, and it was going to be a really powerful story. It kind of continued the story from the previous Avengers film from the year before, which was Infinity War. But this movie was not only like a big story in of itself, but it kind of wrapped up the story that all the previous films were building up to for the last decade. So when people saw that Infinity War and Endgame were like the big moment that everyone was waiting for so many years, it's like, we've got to see this because they've been telling this really big, really long story. We got to see how it concludes. Because really the big baddie in the background for that whole decade was Thanos. And they finally come to blows with him. And they're like, are they going to beat him? Or what if they do? How are they going to do it? And of course, all these heroes that people love, all these big stories, all the chemistry between the characters. But yet, just the buildup alone of that film, and when it came out and sitting in the theater the first time to see it, was a huge memory that I will always hold on to.
All right, what's your last one?
The last one I had for you is, what would be your favorite book series?
I don't know if I'm necessarily that much of a reader. I guess if I had to choose, maybe based on the couple of entries that I've read that we've owned, the ones that have a narrative story in them, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, because from the 2 volumes I've read, it may seem hyperbolic, but there's some pretty relatable stuff in there that really makes you feel sorry for the protagonist.
And for a lot of people, I'm sure that he was a character that they could relate to as well. One that I love for whatever reason, probably because of just, it's actually a couple of them, but they kind of follow the same premise, because they don't really do this anymore. But for a while, Allstate did what many people called mayhem ads. I don't know if you know about those.
Oh yeah. The guy, there's an actor from 30 Rock who plays like a personification of disaster. They call him Mayhem.
Yeah, and two that I absolutely loved was when he was the blind spot on a person's car, and he was like, "My job is easy. Hide big things." And when the person hits another vehicle that they didn't see, he's laughing maniacally in slow motion. And the other one I really liked was when he was a GPS that was outdated for somebody's car, and he keeps saying recalculating. And as the person's about to turn one way, he just goes, "Recalculating, turn right now." And he causes an accident and laughs about it. It's like most of the ads that guy did, I absolutely love.
All right. Well, this has been fun, and thank you all for joining us. And unless we're too busy, we'll be back again next week. And In the meantime, all our episodes on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Facebook, and YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys have any topics, comments, ideas, questions, whatever, go on YouTube or someplace where you can communicate with us, and feel free to let us know what you think.
Join the conversation. Join us.
Please do so.
All right. Until next time, we are More Layers, and thanks for sharing.
So long, everybody. See you hopefully next week.